Okay, this video is just a refresher on polynomial operations, meaning adding, subtracting, multiplying. Dividing will be for the next video. Let me see if I can. But first, I'm going to refresh your brains a little bit on kind of the nomenclature, the vocabulary. So monomial is when there is only one term. So you could have a 6, and a number by itself means there's that invisible variable to the 0 power. Because remember, any non-zero number to the 0 power means 1, and 6 times 1 is just 6. So if there's a number by itself, that's called a constant monomial, and a monomial is a type of a polynomial. Then you have 6x to the first, maybe 6x squared. It's not always going to be a 6. I was just using 6. But notice you can also have 3 variables. As long as it's all multiplication, this is still considered one term. As soon as you add an operator of add or subtract, then it becomes more than one term. And that's what a binomial is. A binomial is when you have 2 terms separated by a plus or subtract sign. So x plus 3, 3x to the 5th subtract y. Both of those are examples of binomials. Then you've got trinomials. So this is your basic quadratic trinomial. X squared plus 2x plus 1. And that's going to factor to a binomial squared. But you might have a trinomial that looks like this. 3x to the 6th plus 6x cubed plus 11. That's also a trinomial. Polynomials are when you have any term, it could be a number by itself, to a positive exponent. Well, an exponent that is greater than or equal to 0. All right. Then we have polynomials. All of the above are considered polynomials. Poly means many. Even a monomial is a type of polynomial. Usually we say polynomial when there are more than 3 terms. There are 3 terms, we say trinomial, 2 terms binomial, and 1 term we say monomial. And whatever the exponent that has the highest degree exponent, that's the degree that it is. So this binomial right here would be a 5th degree binomial. Whoops. All right, let's talk about the operations now. So when you're adding or subtracting, you're just combining like terms. So I just brought the like terms, so negative 3x to the 4th, that's a plus sign, positive 4x to the 4th. Then I found the next type. When you're adding polynomials, put the highest degree exponents first as you read left to right. Then we have positive 4x squared. That's a plus sign, but that says negative. So adding a negative means the same as subtract, 8x squared. And then we have positive 1 plus negative 7, which means 1 subtract 7. And then you just combine the like terms. So negative 3x to the 4th plus 4x to the 4th is just positive 1 x to the 4th. You could put a 1 there if you want. And then 4x squared subtract 8x squared, you would just write it as subtract 4x squared. And then 1 subtract 7, instead of writing add negative 6, you would just write it, the standard way would be to write it as subtract 6. So then, so that it doesn't look so spread out, x to the 4th minus 4x squared subtract 6. And you're going to do the same thing with subtraction. The tricky part of subtraction, there's a subtract on the outside. What might be a better idea is to rewrite both sets of parentheses. Notice the first trinomial, I'm just bringing it down. And then for the following trinomial, you apply that negative sign. So the opposite of positive would be negative. 5n. The opposite of negative would be positive 2n squared, and the opposite of negative would be positive 8n to the fourth. And now that you've done that, so I wrote it this way, I started with negative 8n to the fourth, and then I went ahead and put the subtract negative 8n to the fourth, rather than just adding it there. So you could take the time to do what I did here, or if you're pretty skilled at it, you can just write it like this, and then go ahead and add like terms. And notice a negative 8n to the fourth, subtract a negative means adding a positive. Those two cancel each other out, leaving 0. And then 5n squared, subtract a negative means the same as adding a positive. So the result is 7n squared. And then 7n subtract 5n leaves 2n. So the final result will be 7n squared plus 2n. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. We'll do multiplication review and then division review, a separate video, so they're not so long.